Welcome back. Good start. Welcome back, everybody, to
Yeah.
Recruitment Uncensored with me, Kate, and my guest today, Dom. This is pre-recorded because when this is going live, when you're watching this, I'm on site with the client, so we're pre-recording. And this went off to a great start because, bearing in mind, I think this is actually the 65th episode of Recruitment Uncensored. Went to hit record and accidentally kicked Dom and me out of the studio and exited the studio, so that went well. But yeah, I've got Dom on with me this morning. Dom's a little bit under the weather, by the way. He's got blocked sinuses, so give him a bit of a break today. But if you're watching, still ask us questions, still put things in the chat because we can still cover it off. We can type back to you. It's just that we're not live to bring it. I'm not live to bring it up on screen. That is the only difference. This isn't being edited, clearly, as you'll find out. So it's effectively still live anyway, so that's fine. So we're talking today about resetting your content strategy to get results, particularly a good time of year to do this because we're obviously hitting 2026 soon. So Dom, I'm going to get started because I know for this one in particular, you've got a lot to bring to the table. You obviously work with lots of different people, speak a lot to recruiters. What do you see people get wrong when it comes to building a content strategy, if they even build one at all?
Oh God, where do I even begin? It's quite interesting. Rec is an interesting space. I've been doing this now for 10 years, and the first time I dived into, so it's the first time I've really worked with recruiters per se that aren't just getting me a job. But I've never met a market that hates making content or talking to people more than that they do in the recruiter space, which is quite,
And that's
quite
actually meant to be
interesting.
our job, to talk to
Yeah,
people.
yeah. It's like I could write a book on this, but I've got a list for people to attack. But the main one, right, is that for an industry that is quite silo based, so like you've got software engineers for software recruiters, right? There's this huge detachment between actually, and I'm sorry, I'm going to insult a few people, but them actually understanding the markets they
Yeah, I
work
know.
in.
It's actually
Like,
terrible.
so because I'd be like, oh, when I speak to say a software recruiter, I expect them to have an understanding of at least some principles of how it works, but they got no clue whatsoever. And I don't know. I get it. Like they're busy, and maybe there isn't quite this need for such a high level understanding of what's going on. But my biggest piece, right, if before what everyone in the rec space needs to do is understand their market, right? Is like if you are going to talk to people, if you're going to talk to a market, you're going to talk to people on social, you need to understand their problems or the pain points and stuff, like what they're what the suffering inside the job is outside of the typical, oh, they're struggling to find a job or they're struggling a bit to pieces, like the inside jokes. Because if you can commute, like I write a lot of comedy on LinkedIn, and the general great thing about comedy is that it pokes at like the inside truths of the industry. If people go, oh yeah, me too, in your content, then they're way more inclined to talk to you and reach out to you and just like create touch points and stuff. So my number one is make sure that you really, really, truly understand your market. And it doesn't need to mean you have to go get a PhD, but it does mean you have to kind of like look at memes, look at language jokes and stuff like that. There's just a simple way of like being able to talk to people, I think, is just what I'm trying to do in a very long-winded way. My next piece is that you'll hear this on social a lot, right? It's just like, you've heard of vanity metrics, right? Where they're like,
Yeah.
oh, people chasing likes and stuff. And then it's like, oh, well, you need to chase relevance. Well, in rec, they don't do either, right? So like chasing engagement metrics, it has its uses, right? Being popular, being seen by many people outside your field means you get known. But also, again, going back to the point of like understanding your market, which is that relevance piece, is like John, you probably know, work with ALS. He's like, his philosophy is you go 1 inch wide and 2 miles deep in terms of like what you're like, who you're trying to talk to and your markets and bits and pieces. But people don't do either. So I think what people need to do is my point number 2 is decide one or the other. Either isn't wrong, but like either create content that is leaning towards more virality, which is like speaking to people's humanity, or going into content that not necessarily will get tons of engagement for you, but will really speak to the people.
Yeah,
Which is my
that was a
third
big
point.
learning curve for me, actually.
Yeah, and
That.
my third point, which kind of stems into that, that does not mean posting job ads all day, every
Oh,
day.
don't.
Posting job ads is not a form of social content. There's not one fucking person on this planet who wakes up in the morning and goes, can't wait to get my stream of job ads on TikTok. It's just like, it's not, I get like, again, like people, you know, they have their place, but it's not social content, right? It really isn't. And I see, I do see people really, really trying with them. Like I see some incredibly elaborate ones, and like I don't know if I should do names and bits and pieces, but like I see them and I'm just like, I mean it looks good, but it's this boring fucking paint. Like I just like
But I think as well, people forget, and this draws into some of the other stuff you've said. If your content is great, you'll naturally draw people to the ads that sit on your website or sit somewhere else anyway. Can I have a rant and add a fourth?
yeah.
Like they post the content they're posting is almost, and they're not a rec to rec, by the way. The content they're posting is aimed at recruiters.
Yeah.
It's like, but that's not your fucking market. So you're posting content for other recruiters, and the only people that like it are the people in your business.
Yeah.
And some other recruiters. So it's fucking pointless.
Do you know what? Funny enough, that was literally my fourth point, which I was going to go into.
Oh, sorry.
Which is no, it's all good, but it's true. The thing is about like, and this goes back to my first point, right? People post about recruiters and stuff because it's a market they understand, because it's something they're comfortable with, and this is the piece. Like, if you're comfortable with a subject, creating the content for it is easy because you don't have to think about it. And I know I'm bashing on like people like making shitty content and stuff, but I understand the problem because it's hard. It's a full-time job. It's a lot of mental overload and a lot of extra stuff that people don't want to be fucking doing, because it's also not fee earning, right? It's like, it's just
immediately fee earning.
Yeah, it's like this thing that people tell you have to do, but it's kind of like this big ethereal spaghetti monster in play. I understand what it is, but like there are steps you can do, and I can talk about it all day long, that will make your life easier. So, which leads on to my next thing is that people will then go off. They will then try and. There's a lot of carbon copying on LinkedIn, which is like they will look at like what big people are creating, and then they copy it and then say like, well, why isn't it working for me when it's working for these bigger creators? And like, you've got like LinkedIn is like a giant MLM. Everyone is basically trying to sell shovels to everyone else, but no one is trying to actually do anything for the guy on the bottom floor. And if you have a look at like how a lot of majority of content works in terms that like big creators with big success, it's always very much how you make money from X, how you do Y, etc. Like, and it's got a very like juicy hook on it, which is how to make more financial income. And that's not necessarily what, you know, the market that you're speaking to on the bottom floor, depending what it is, really cares about. And again, going back to like, my whole theme for this is write what people care about. Talk to people like
in
they're
your
human
market
beings with human problems in your market. And rec is so wide, and there's so many different topics and stuff. There's like, you really need to understand who you are speaking to. Like, whenever I ghostwrite for a lot of people on LinkedIn, and the first thing I do is I go out and I go, who are you talking to? And I want to understand everything about them. what makes them cry, what makes them laugh, what types of activities, like what sports, like everything, not just like that kind of like immediate, like, you know, maybe like immediate pain point. And then once I've got that snapshot of that person, then I can then really, really speak to them, because, and I cannot emphasize just how important this is. Okay. And then if we, my other piece is, which is getting a little bit wider, is that you'll see a lot of people about like repurposing content and like putting content everywhere and trying to be like all and everything. But my biggest point, like, people need to really learn the platform that they're working on and understand kind of like how to use the tools properly. And like, I call it the law of libraries, right? So in content platforms, we have, like, you've got Instagram, you've got TikTok, you've got LinkedIn, right? And if you go into a library, there are what we call, like, there are rules you've got to go. So you've got to be quiet. You've got to sit in the background and stuff. And if you go into a coffee shop, there might be, you can drink coffee, but you can talk to your friends and you can make noise. Social platforms work in the same way with all their different tools and bits and pieces, right? You've got to learn, like, what type of content formats work on there. Like, maybe it's the way that you present the information, maybe it's the videos, like maybe it's, you've got more text based, etc. But you really need to kind of like dive deep into that to really make the best use. And also, off the back of that, don't get then lost in just talking about the platform, like, because that's the other thing I like Rec likes to do, is that, like, this recent trend of like, I changed my gender. I changed my gender to man, and now I'm getting like 5 billion. Like, I'm going to get a lot more reach. It's like, your clients don't care about that. Majority of people don't care about it. The only people who care about that is the other angry posse of people who aren't getting any reach because they're just not doing the fundamentals of content creation. It's just like, you're not social strategists. You're all recruiters. Like, so talk about those things, right? And again, it goes back to the main point: understand your market and then talk to them. I look at this and go, it's not really that hard, right? But
no, I'm the same. I think I've been guilty of the vanity. I went through a phase of getting sucked into the vanity matrix. It's a bit of a matrix, isn't it? Matrix thing. But then and then I totally changed my strategy and sort of thought, what the fuck am I doing? And some of since sort of, I'd say August, September, when I've really invested in a different strategy, my posts, some of them don't do anywhere near as good likes and comments wise as maybe some of my other ones did, but I'm getting a bigger return from it. I'm going to move, if you don't mind, I'm going to move on to the next question, just for time. Because this one is what I hear a lot when I go into agencies. It's like, oh, it's overwhelming. You know, they don't stay consistent with it. And I think you sort of mentioned it a little bit then. Like, how can people stay consistent when their content creation does feel overwhelming?
Okay, so I've done enough recruitment to bashing, so I guess I better give some helpful tips, right? So the main thing that people have, the main problem is the time, right? So my biggest, we'll go into this a bit later, but basically my biggest tip, right, for anyone is you need to create a simple, repeatable system that allows you to easily pull an idea from your head that you know about, turn it into a piece of content, and then post it, right? And I'll give one that, like, I give a really easy one for everyone, right? So in content, there's three types of like, there's three types of like, what's the way content distribution we call it, right? So we've got you've got organic content, right, which is where you will you make post, the algorithm goes, hey everyone, this piece of content, and then based on how well it performs, how well the creative is, will then determine how much view and reach you have it. Then you have paid content, right, which is where you will go, So you say, I don't want to be responsible for the creative. I don't want to be, do hooks and all those bits and pieces. I'm going to pay the platform to go give this to as many people as that will be interested in my content, right? And the third one that people really need to be jumping on is what we call borrowed authority. So borrowed authority is essentially where you like what we're doing now. So I say, I have a lot of value. I know I do, but the person I'm talking to has a lot of like reach and also authority and other bits and pieces. So what we're going to do is we're going to get up and we're going to collaborate. We're going to get here and we're going to talk. We're going to like do something together. So their party gets something. So their audience may necessarily benefit from like a piece of information you have. So in this case, it might be social strategy, but at the same, and then they get, and then I, from doing that, get a reach. So I get to,
You just appeared, Dom.
Oh, hello. Oh, no. Technical errors. Let me fix that for you.
Now you all know we are still basically live.
Yeah. Now we know we're not live.
We planned all of this. Just,
you're
back? You're back.
Am I back? Is my face
you're
here?
back, but you're frozen.
All right, let me turn my camera off a second. All right. This is great. I apologize, everyone. This is my 17th tip. Make sure you get your tech sorted.
This is your comeuppance for slating all the recruiters. It's calm as a bitch.
Oh my God. What's going on? Come on. Oh no, that's hideous. That's just my chin. I'm not. Hang on. I'm gonna Can I refresh? I'll be right back.
Yeah. It's just me for the moment now. Just me. While we're waiting for Dom, one thing I would say is just alluding to something he spoke about, and I just mentioned it slightly, is it's very, very easy to get sucked into the vanity matrix on LinkedIn. And if your audience are either on LinkedIn, it might be another platform you use, but any of them, and get really sort of upset if like your post doesn't get many likes or the engagement figures are rubbish. But honestly, I have noticed, like I said, in the last few months, some of my posts and haven't done that well initially. They might have taken off a few weeks later because LinkedIn's doing that now, isn't it? But I'm getting way more incoming like messages from people wanting to book meetings with me, and it's all from my content. So I think that's a really important point that we all just need to let go of, is this obsession with the numbers around everything.
Hello.
He's back.
I fucking cocked that
I
up.
held before. It's fine.
Oh,
Don't worry. I've held before.
Okay. Right. Where was I?
Just for anyone watching, by the way, we are going to run a little bit over the normal time today, but we're not going to cut it short. Don't worry.
Okay, so so there's three forms of traffic. There's organic, which is the algorithm distributes your content for you based on the creative. There's paid, which is where you make a creative and then you say, who my piece of content needs to reach out to. So you then pay the like TikTok or Facebook, for example, and they will distribute it, knowing like who is interested in your offer, blah blah blah. And then we have what we call borrowed authority. So this is essentially you get together with someone who has more authority than you, but you also have more value in the subject matter that you're giving to their audience. So typical example of this, and the easiest one, is podcasts or doing fireside chats that you film. So you get together and you talk about various topics and bits, pieces and questions, and you clip all those wonderful questions up, and then you post them on your social, because it makes you look like an independent expert. And secondly, it shows that you have a connection pool to those people that you said that you're an expert with. So, for example, if I was a social strategist for baking bread, and you're a baker, and someone comes along and sees me talking to you who's a baker, they go, oh, Dom's got connection. Dom knows what he's talking about. Dom is in that sphere of influence. And then people show interest, because then I'm also talking about things that are relevant to them, right? That people can see that content and go, me too. And it's just a great way. And it's really easy. And it would take you, 20 minutes a week for maybe do 2 weeks of content. And I do this inside of ALS, and I do this with my other clients. And it's just so easy. So find your mates out there. So not other fucking recruiters. That doesn't mean you find Bill who you go out with like once a fucking month or whatever. No recruiters. So people in your industry. So if you're a software engineer,
it's a great BD tool. So if you want to do this, go and ask the people in your network, as Dom said, your market, but look at the decision makers that you're also trying to build relationships with. Bring them on to something like this. Then you can create shorts out of it. So you've got loads of content sitting there. And even if you don't want to create a video short out of it, the chat could create just a text post.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you can like go into, as you say, you like one short form piece of video. That's a clip, that's a written post, that's a carousel, all saying the same thing. Like, and if you're super lazy, you can just go to like, you can AI the shit out of it. Like, AI is a tool there to be used and abused. It is a spanner for turning nuts. Right. So yeah. Okay. Anyway, so
one thing I will say about that, and this is one of my little bugbears, is if there's nothing wrong with you using AI to help you build your content, right? Especially if you're new to it. But for the love of God, can you please just read through it before copying and pasting it, and just make little tweaks to make it sound like you? Because you can see a ChatGPT written post from a mile off that you haven't even read. You've just copied and pasted to get a post out. And again, it needs to connect with your audience.
Yeah, I completely agree. A good watermark for, or like a dipstick test for your AI content is when you read it, you go, does it replace my humanity? And if the answer to that is yes, then it needs to go in the bin. It needs to, like, which is why I always say, like, if you're a big user of AI, which I am, I love the shit out of it, is to build your own LLMs. So like you go to ChatGPT, get all the content you've ever written by hand, paste it in there and go, give me some ideas, give me some samples that I can use to then recreate and see what it turns out. And then go, it will just, because at the very least, it will trigger that kind of base, like, oh, that's a good idea. And I didn't think of that, because we're not running on energy full time, and it's full power all the time. And as I've, as I clearly understand, you guys are busy, right? You have other things to do and other interests than making content. Like, I'll be real with you, like the people who work in social, we're all a bit weird, right? We enjoy scrolling our phones. It's like, no one really wants to be doing this unless you're a bit unhinged. So like, I completely understand that. Okay.
So, I was going to move on to the next question.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Did you have one more thing to add?
No, I've got loads to add, but it's like, it's all good. Like, this topic is, I'm one of those weirdos who could talk about this all day long. So it's
yeah. Well, one thing I will be saying at the end to all of you is, this is a massive topic, and if there's anything that you want more on, which I'm sure you will, because there's so much to talk about, drop Dom a message like ASAP. But let's go to the next one. So, what makes a piece of content actually worth posting? Because I see a lot of people get in their own heads about this. They'll like make a post. Sometimes it's brilliant, and they're like, "Oh, shall I post it? Shall I not? Is it worth it? Is it not?" Like, people overthink as well, don't they?
I mean, there's this kind of like, inside the video space at the moment, especially, there is this kind of like slogan of like, just post, just believe in yourself, and like, and you'll be okay. Like,
just get it out there.
Yeah, which I do agree. Like, so there's something called the faulty water faucet principle, or the faulty water tap. And basically the idea is that when you move into a house, you look at the sinks, you turn them on, and nothing but shit comes out for a while. And what you do is you leave the tap on running for a while, and eventually you get beautiful clear water. And it's like, and the principle is that, oh, just keep going, and like eventually you'll have some like you have drinking water. But unfortunately, if you have shit in your tank, you're still going to get E. coli at the end of the day, no matter how clear the water is. So my advice to people
is an image I've got in my head right now.
Yeah, my advice to people is that make sure, like, use a little bit of common sense. But yeah, they're like, you have to post that, you have to start somewhere, right? You have to work, like, you have to develop those muscles, even if you are tripping over your feet, other bits and pieces. But so my tips are, I'm going to bash these out, right? Number one is make sure that you are speaking to your market, not your ego. Number two is make sure it answers the question your clients or your candidates are already asking or thinking about, right? So otherwise they just won't care, right? Ask yourself, does your content teach something? If it teaches something and goes back to the previous point, is that your clients are asking it, wham, people will take interest. Next point is it reflects your reality of your niche, right? Don't think what people want to know about. Know what people want to know about.
Speak to them.
Yeah, like talk to them, get them on the phone, right? Which is why, like, those little AI note takers.
Job anyway.
Yeah. So, like, for example, if I take an AI note taker after this video and then, like, look back at it, I can probably pull out 20 pieces of content that I can post for myself as a social strategist. Kate probably have some content that she can like post about, like, in the rec space, and it's like be really useful. So take that into mind. Make content that creates a conversation. For all those who know me, I am the king of rage bait because it makes conversation. When people are outraged about something, they talk about it, but you don't have to necessarily make people angry to get a reaction from them, but make content that starts a conversation that they go, oh, me too.
Opinion.
Yes. Like, but it's conversation, not a monologue as well. You're not just shouting at people. Okay. And also make sure that your content has a clear purpose. Like, I see a lot of posts on LinkedIn that are trying to talk about lots of little things all over the place. Like, just one thing with one point, with one like assumption or whatever, one teaching point or whatever. Keep it short and simple. Some of the most successful posts I see on LinkedIn are no more than 100 words. In fact, if you want some great examples, look at Jika. She writes ThinkBait, and she works for Vampire Digital. Basically, she's very, very good about talking about AI and the dangers of it. And it's always one spoken point and one outcome from that, and people listen to it, right? Okay, so the other thing is your content has a clear purpose. So is it trust? Is it visibility? Is it pipeline? Is it credibility? But whatever point you're trying to make is there for you. And also the last one is, and which I was talking about the law of the library, which is basically it fits the platform style and behavior. There's like, I wanted to make this point earlier, right? But is that if you are, say we're on LinkedIn, right? And everyone wakes up and decides that interpretive dancing is the way that we are going to communicate B2B to everyone. Sorry, people, that's what you have to do. Like, you can't, like, this whole mentality of like, that's not what I want to do. That's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it my way. Unfortunately, yeah, you're going to be the one no one cares about. Like, it's like, like you have.
It was like when video, I don't know if it's still the case, but like LinkedIn was promoting video, like portrait style, and so many people and people still are terrible at this in the recruitment world. Yeah, but I don't like being on camera. I don't want to be on video, so I'm not doing it. And it's like, well, don't expect you've got to. That's what it's promoting, and that's actually how people connect better with you anyway.
Yeah. And this is like this is like why I say, like, keep things as simple as possible, because then if you may need to make those format adaptations and bits and pieces, you can do so easily and like really benefit from it. But like, look at when I say platform style and behavior, that doesn't mean copying the most successful post that you are there. It means going away and talking to people in marketing who have an understanding of the platforms, right? And this is like the other, I keep saying this, but like, if you run a rec company, you need a marketing arm in there. You can't rely purely on everyone in your company to be like, you're recruiters, and I read a book that said recruiters need to post on LinkedIn, so you're all social strategist now. It's like that's it's not fair, and it's not reality, right? It's like you need experts in your company or like consultants that really benefit, who really understand this, who can share their knowledge and give it to those people who want to listen to it. Because it's difficult, right?
It is. I'm just going to do a quick roundup of what's happening in the gap. We've got Christmas coming up, and then I'm going to come back to you for a top tip just before we finish. So we've now got a break for Christmas. No, I am not doing LinkedIn, getting people on these LinkedIn lives over their Christmas holiday. So the next show is now going to be on the 7th of January. It's exactly the same time as normal, 12:30 to 1. No, it's not. Yes, 12:30 to 1 o'clock. How do I still not know the fucking time of the show? Like, seriously, it's been years now. So yeah, 7th of Jan. The event will go live the week before, so you'll see who the guest is, what we're talking about, all of that stuff. So 7th of Jan, have that in your diary. That is the next show. Right, Dom, your top tip for everybody: create simple, repeatable structures. Can you quickly just summarize this as sort of a parting note with the viewers?
So you guys are all busy. You all have limited time of day. So the easiest one to do that is you go to your favorite social media platform, you find the type of content that you want, find a piece of content that resonates with you, a format, for example, and then you you find out your like top 30 like questions that come from your target market audience, for example. And then use those questions to create that content in that said format. This is like one of the most simplest ways to do it. So then you've got 30 pieces of content that you can post every day. So you basically start off with the hook of like, you ask the question and then you answer the question, and then you use that to post your format. And you can do that in text, you can do that in video and other bits and pieces. But if this is a very, like, there's a lot to this subject, and if you want to discuss more of it, then drop me a message.
And that's what I was going to say to finish is there is a lot that goes. I'm not trying to make it sound complicated, but there is a lot. We could talk about this all day. Like Dom said, he could write a fucking book on this. There is a lot to talk about. So whether you're got your own agency, or you're in your business on your own as a sole recruiter, or you work in a recruitment business and you want some help with this, easiest way to contact you, Dom, would be LinkedIn, wouldn't it? Drop a message.
Yeah. Drop me a message on LinkedIn, and I'm happy to talk to you about it.
Yeah, drop him a message. Definitely follow him anyway, because his posts are brilliant. But we're all round up for Christmas now. This is the last episode before Christmas. If you did comment while we're chatting, or if you've left any questions, we will respond at some point today. It might not be straight away, because at the moment I will be actually training people. Dom, I don't know what you're doing next Wednesday. But we will come back to you eventually. But yeah, thank you everybody for watching. And for the regular viewers, thank you for your support all through this year with the show as well. It's muchly appreciated. And just to finish, if you are an agency owner, founder, manager, I'm looking for guests for 2026. If you want to come on the show, drop me a message and I will get you booked in. We can talk about whatever you want. But yeah, thank you everybody for watching. Thank you, Don, for coming on, and I'll see you next year. See you all later.